Hey everybody, this is the fourth here, and this video is the first video in a mini tutorial series called Music Theory Made Easy in FL Studio. So in these videos, I'm going to be introducing you to some tools that are available in FL Studio that can help you apply the basic concepts of music theory more easily. So using these tools will help you to write melodies, chord progressions, and stuff like that without having to have, the scales or the different chords, committed to memory. And this will allow you as a beginner to focus more on writing the melodies and chord progressions rather than spending a lot of time, really worrying about the theory behind it, because this helps put the theory right in front of you and makes it really easy. So the first tool, and the tool that I will be talking about in this video, is the typing keyboard to piano keyboard. And so you might already be aware that this exists because, at least in my experience, it has always been on by default. But the option is right up here. And, to enable the typing keyboard to piano keyboard, all you have to do is click on it and make sure it's lit up. And then what it does is it turns your computer keyboard into kind of a MIDI keyboard controller. So right now I'm just going to be playing some keys on my keyboard. And you can hear that it plays the notes. So like I said, a lot of you are probably already aware of this, but what you might not be aware of is that you can actually change the mapping of the keys on your keyboard. So instead of mapping to the basic piano keyboard, you can map it to a scale or a set of chords, and this can be really helpful. So by default, it is set to the piano keyboard, but you can change this mapping by right-clicking on the typing keyboard to piano keyboard icon, and you can change the octave by changing the bass note. You can make it an octave lower or an octave higher. But you can also change the layout to set it to some different types of scales and also some different chord mappings. So if I wanted to write a song in the natural minor scale, I could select the minor natural option. And now what it does is each row, instead of kind of relating to the piano notes, it relates directly to the notes of the natural minor scale. And so each row then is a different octave. So if I play the 0, you can hear that it just plays a scale. And the A row, same thing, an octave above, and then it is the same for the Q and then the row of numbers. And so you can select, the natural minor, melodic minor, pentatonic, major, and blues. So there's a decent selection of scales to pick from. And the scales, I think they all work in the same way. So that was just me playing up and down the 0. And using these scales is really nice because it allows you to just kind of play around on the keyboard without having to worry about what notes you're playing so much. And then you can just focus on how it sounds and see if you can come up with something really cool. And that's just me not even thinking about what I'm playing, just playing around on the keys. So using these scales can be very useful to help you write melodies more easily. And if you do come up with something that you like just playing around on the keyboard, you can record it. But if you have trouble recording it usually, what you can do instead is go to Tools and then dump score log to selected pattern. And that will put the last 3 minutes of what you've played into the piano roll. And then you can find, what you just played. And then you can, take a look at it and edit it into a proper melody to use in your track. So in addition to the scale mappings, you also have some chord mappings. And these chord mappings make writing chord progressions very easy. So you do have some different options. You have major plus chords, major chord map, but what I'm going to look at is the minor natural chord map. But you can, of course, play with the other ones on your own. And so what the minor natural chord map does is the 0 is all the notes of the natural minor scale. But it's the bass notes. So oftentimes, you will want a bass note playing with your chord, and so that helps you to do that. And then the other rows are different inversions of the chords. So if I play 1 QA, it sounds like this. And you can hear that it's all the same chord, just different inversions. And the really cool thing about this chord mapping is that if you play a number, it will play that chord in the scale, at least for the numbers 1 through 7, because then you kind of go back to the root after 7. So if I want to play a 1, 4, 5 chord progression, a very common chord progression, all I have to do is play the numbers 1, 4, and 5. Or if I want to play a 1, 4, 6, 5, I can just play 1, 4, 6, 5. And if I just want to experiment, I can play any of the number keys, or I can also play the other rows as well. And you can play around, see if you can come up with something you like. And again, if you do, you can try to record it, or you can just do the tools and dump the score log. But doing this makes it really easy to just play some chord progressions and experiment with playing different chords without really needing to know the chords of the scale, or even knowing the scale completely to memory. So that's pretty much it for this video. Hopefully it was helpful. Hopefully this tool, changing the mapping on the keyboard, will help you to apply some basic concepts of music theory as a complete beginner, even with no knowledge of music theory. And hopefully it'll help you to write some pretty cool chord progressions or melodies. Now in the next video, if you have a MIDI keyboard, I'm going to be showing you a technique to do a similar thing, but you can use your MIDI keyboard and you don't have to use the computer keyboard. So if you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.